So you guys know that in this century, a lot of people, both old and young, they always talk about how they find it difficult to sleep. And the one thing that it all boils down to for them is that they have insomnia. See, in Nigeria, I don't know if it's just Nigeria, but it's mostly us. When we find big words, it's like, oh, I have insomnia, insomnia. Sometimes I even feel like insomnia make them look cool. Just like the way we've abused, what's this other word? OCD. Somebody just likes to have a clean environment, and all of a sudden you're claiming you have OCD. You don't even know what OCD is. Same way you don't know what insomnia is. You don't have any insomnia, anything. You have trauma. That's what you have, and you need to heal. At Intentional Parent Academy, we're running a course, Healing from Childhood Trauma, and this course is going for just 25,500 naira. This is what you need to do. That's what you need to cure your insomnia, because you just have anxiety, you just have a lot of thoughts that are weighing you down. Because that's how it is. Sometimes when I can't sleep, I always find out that, oh, it's because I'm having like a train of thoughts. That it's just like having tabs on your computer open. When you want to close the computer to sleep, they will always ask you close tab and stuff like that. That's the same thing with your brain, really. So seek help instead of shouting insomnia, insomnia, insomnia. It's not insomnia. Okay? Bye.
Alrighty, so you're welcome, and it's Tuesday Live. Who's excited like me? Did you see that video? That video was Kochisom sharing with us about sleep, insomnia, and how actually all of this can be tied down to your healing journey and your trauma and all of that. I remember that last year during the healing from childhood trauma course, a particular parent said she had this pain on her leg, and as soon as the last session, which is the therapy session, happened, the pain went off, and that was the end of that pain. That might be you. That might be actually the person that you are. Many times you actually find out that you don't even know which way it is going. It might just be your trauma. And that's why healing from childhood trauma class is important to everybody. I want to, encourage you. Since this is not the yard, right? I want to encourage you. If it's the yard, I can manage to give you some bibles. But I want to encourage you, right? Just get on your healing journey. It's going to change the trajectory of your journey. Yarders, are you here? And if you're here, let me see you say hello. Yeah, my mama is here. Can you say my mommy? Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Welcome, mom. It's good to have you here again and again. So, one of the things that you would need to pay attention to will be the conversations around what is happening to you. And that is very important. So you're welcome here. My name is Wendy Olugi. I'm the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. Is this your first time joining here? And if this is your first time, please let me see in the comment section, say hello. When you say hello, we will meet and greet you. All right? We will meet and greet you and welcome you to the cathedral. The cathedral is the place to be. Trust me. All righty. All righty. So you're welcome here. Don't mind me. So today we're talking about what your child is not telling you. What your child is not telling you. I shared an introduction on my timeline and I said, your children are never going to tell you everything. Somebody help me put that in the comment section. Your children will never tell you everything. You see that thing, right? That actually comes to you to tell you that, oh, my children tells me everything about my life, everything, I know everything about my children. That phrase is just a comforting illusion for you. It's rarely the full truth. Even in the closest of the environment, even in the healthiest of the environment, even me, because I have a very connected relationship, my husband and I, with the kids, with the twins. Interestingly, they're not going to tell you, not because they want to hide something, but because there are several other reasons why that can happen. So if anybody tells you that, yes, come and I will teach you how your children are going to tell you everything, no, that's not what we're talking about. What we're going to rather be showing you or teaching you is that you say, I have built enough trust so that my child can tell me anything, even if they don't always do it right away. So it means that you can read the cues. It means that you can say it Sometimes they are telling you, but they are not telling you in words. Will you be able to actually pick it? That's the conversation of the day. So, what is your child not telling you? Let's start from there before we not get to the second leg of this conversation, and then we will now, get it all there. But or I think we should flip it. Okay, let's flip it. Let me show you why your children won't tell you everything, even when they feel loved, even when everything is all right. There are about 5 reasons I have actually put down to show you why your children are not going to tell you everything, right? In words, but they will be if you're, if you understand your parenting skill enough, you'll be able to actually see some of those things. Number one is that sometimes they fear your reaction. What if they get angry? What if I disappoint them? What if I get punished? So sometimes a child is actually, so even the connected children hide things to avoid conflict or even to avoid emotional discomfort. It's not because they are bad, but because they are human. So naturally, human beings do not want to get themselves to the place where they become uncomfortable. Now, one of the things that happen is maybe your reaction in the past have actually put them in that place. And sometimes your reaction is also not intentional, which is why intentional parenting, you can't take it away, right? Because there are things you can, never be able to actually all put together. So that's why people submit and say, nobody can know it all and all of that. Yes, I agree with you. But if you are intentional enough, you'll be able to read the cues. Number two, they don't have the words. So sometimes even your child that has a very great relationship with you do not have the words to be able to explain what they know. Especially children that are under 12. Many times you see that because we lack emotional vocabulary, our children at that age also lack emotional vocabulary. Because that's why I say that if you want your children to understand, emotions, control, emotional intelligence, you need to build yourself to be in that place. If not, you're going to be in trouble. And that's why, when I wrote this book, right? Sorry, let me just get it. Raising the emotionally skilled child, right? One of the things that I was saying in this conversation was that this book, it's that if you do not raise yourself as an emotionally intelligent person, you find out that it becomes really difficult to actually help your child. So if you don't have vocabularies, if you don't have emotional vocabularies, you find out that you would struggle. All right. This is very important. This is very important. And you begin to actually see some of these things, work all against you, right? So your child is actually thinking, oh, sometimes they are overwhelmed. They don't have the words, they're overwhelmed. Sometimes they are anxious. They are anxious. Sometimes they are even ashamed. So I'm currently writing the guide that we're going to give and use for. We're going to be out there soon. That guide is called 100 Sexual Reputation Culture, 100 Silent Pressures Children Face About Sex and How to Help Them. That's one. And then there is a second one that talks about digital molestation, right? 100 ways your child can get abused digitally and how to prevent it. And let me say this here. If you have a child and you are ever going to introduce your child to the digital world, whether they are 10, they are 13, they are 20, they are 12, whatever age that they are, I beg you, that guide is for you. Father, I finished writing it and I said to my husband, I said, there are even more things that have even come, to actually choke our children that many parents do not know about. And that's what, I was talking about in digital molestation. Now, when I was putting digital molestation together, I found that there were many cases where a child is being molested digitally and they're not able to say it because of shame. Because maybe they've made one mistake and then they don't want to be in the space where another mistake now spiral. So sometimes they don't even know how to explain it. So I found that there's some things that happen in the digital space as molestation. A child is told to, share something, and then the child maybe shares a somewhere, maybe shares her hand, eating something, or maybe a boy who is bare-chested, for instance, shares his picture and then someone, says you need to share more. If not, I'm going to report you. There are too many things that can actually make your child not to talk. But one of the things that I did in that digital molestation book is to explain, right, why this happens and how you can prevent them. And then how you can also see the telltale sign if your child is actually in that situation, which is why you cannot but be a parent who is not just present, but a parent who is present with knowledge. If you are present without knowledge, you make a mess of that child. And if you're present with knowledge without strategy, it becomes even worse. Yesterday, I was sharing something with the parents in the inner circle, and I was sharing this is that conversation with them, this morning, because knowledge is information, strategy is intention. Knowledge tells you what is possible. Strategy helps you to prioritize and focus. With infinite knowledge and no direction, you'll be overwhelmed. And that's what happens in the space where we find ourselves today. And that's why I keep advocating that parents need to be in a system that transforms the knowledge that they have to actually a strategy, a clear strategy that filters and channels that knowledge effectively. Because you can have all the knowledge and yet it won't profit you. It won't profit you. So knowledge strategy connects the dots and drives execution. So strategy is planning, timing, resource allocation, emotional intelligence, risk management. Consistency is the strategy. And if there's something that we teach in the inner circle, it is consistency. And it's a strategy. So you can know it and not do it. Because knowledge without a plan can lead to analysis paralysis, like we say in the yard. And in parenting, in business, in life, knowing about child psychology is great. But if you do not have a strategy to connect with the unique child in the moment of tantrum, the moment of rebellion, that's what a game changer is. So if you're, whatever it is, knowledge is that fuel, strategy is the engine. Without strategy, it just sits in the tank. And most of the times, that's what we do. We are present, we have knowledge, but we don't have strategy. And if you do not have strategy in parenting, you will fail. This is not a prophecy, this is the truth. And that's what happens most of the time. Have you ever seen a parent who, you said, my dad is an accountant, and my dad know a lot about, in quote, management of funds and all of that, in quote, right? And then you grew up with that accountant, but you are zero when it comes to money management. It's not because the accountant didn't know that money management was supposed to be this way. It's just because the accountant didn't have a strategy. That's why you can be a priest and your children will fail. Because the knowledge of Christ is not what transforms. It's actually the strategy, the application of that knowledge. That's what transforms when it comes to Christianity. So the fact that you know Christ doesn't really take you to heaven. Is anybody getting it? So you must be able to understand that, yes, I need to be present as a parent. I need to have knowledge as a parent. However, the game changer is that I need a strategy to apply. A person may know everything about parenting. A person may know everything about business. A person may know everything about health. But without strategy to apply it, the result will be inconsistent and will be absent. So your transformation, right? It's not subject to what you know. Your transformation is not subject to what you know. You can know it and yet not be transformed. Your transformation is subject to the application of the strategy that you have. And most of the times, the strategy is what it is that we teach. So people come and say, everybody knows everything and all of that. No. We teach you strategy that helps you to actually apply so that you can be consistent enough and your result will be consistent enough to deliver. So you can know it and yet you won't be able to actually make it work. So I've seen quite a number of people who come into the inner circle and say, hey, I need to know this, how did I think of it in this way? You can't, because it's not given to you to think of it in that way. There are people called in this time to actually be able to provide the strategy. The Bible talks about the sons of Isaac, and the Bible says that the sons of Isaac understood the times. What did they understand? The strategy to be able to enthrone the king. Because the king was anointed. David was anointed king, yet there needed to be a strategy. The knowledge that David was anointed king didn't get him to sit on the throne. So David, something else needed to happen for David to be able to sit on the throne. And what is that bridge? Strategy. So you can know, you can know, and yet you cannot deliver. So that's one key thing that you would need to, pay attention to. Number 3, your children are still developing a sense of privacy. That's also one of the things that can happen to you. As children grow, especially in their twins, in their teens, it's developmentally normal for them to pull away and create a private world. Developmentally normal. Not sharing everything doesn't always mean disconnection. It can mean individualization. I give a very typical example. We raised our foster daughter. I remember when we were talking about when she was getting married, and we're talking about something that happened with a particular a particular somebody in their school or something. I think she said she had a conversation. A boy asked her out. I can't remember how the story went, but and on her wedding eve. So I was like, I didn't hear this part of the gist. So she's like, mommy, person is not important, I beg. So it didn't mean that we were not connected. No, it just meant that it wasn't as important as to use it to bother you at where you are. And it's neither here nor there. And let me say something. You see the concept of my children and my friend, right? You see the concept of my children and my friends. We are friends. We are very close. It has a word. It has a trauma imprint in it. It can be parentification. And most times, that's what it is. Most of us think that parenting and being connected with your child means that you blur the lines, move from being a parent and become ice cream and a friend. Yeah, that's how do I say it? You're a leader. You are not ice cream. Your children cannot like you all the time. If they like you all the time, you have blurred the line and there's a problem. So in friendship, everything you do to please your friend, right? Make them feel good, make them. Unfortunately, on the subject of parenting, part of your strategy cannot be to be, there and form a relationship with your child, in that way. So friendship, that's what I say, that friendship is a tool in parenting. It's not a relationship. So stop forcing your children to see them that you're not telling me everything. Tell me everything that happens to you. That's manipulation. That's an act of control. Why do you want that to even happen in the first place? So it comes from a place of I have 15-year-olds, both boy and girl, and I don't expect them to, tell me everything. Tell me how you stood up from the toilet and how this happened. No, I don't. Because I recognize that if it's as important, if it needs me to hear, I'm going to hear it. And if it's something that I've also placed the right people around them. See, there is a point comes, like we teach in the inner circle, I taught inner circle parents, that a point comes in your life as a parent where you climb down from the first floor to the fourth floor. It simply means that your child, it's now going to be in the place where you are as important, but you're not as influential. And it's true. You're not as influential. And that's why you begin to struggle, because they become teenagers. You've not put the right relationships in front of them. You are not fighting. Why are you talking to this person? And you know what's happening today? Our children are now replacing this influence they can't have. They're now replacing with AI. So recently, I have a case on my table where AI have, in quotes, sexually abused this child. Oh, digital molestation is real. And he has formed a lot of bond with this AI. So AI is like the babe, in quotes. And this boy is 14. Sorry. Really sad story. I might not be able to divulge a lot about this conversation, but I'm here to tell you that if we open our mouth and tell you everything that we hear, you probably run away and say, I'm not this parenting, I'm not doing again. So I'm just here to encourage you to pay attention to the things that matter. And the things that matter, part of it is to learn and to strategize. And we've provided for you a learning platform. And we've also provided for you a strategic platform. Believe you me, That's the important thing, the most important thing that you need. Because your strategy is what will position you even much, much more better than what it is that you think you know. All right. Number four. Number four is that your children are afraid that you might overreact or even take over. All right. Some children fear that if they stay too much, their parents will take the issue to school. Their parents will call grandma. Their parents will call another parent. Their parents will make a big deal out of it. Maybe they just wanted to talk. So they edit what they share. They edit it. They scan it. And then they keep, they keep pushing it to you out there to see what it is that you're going to think. And then number five, they don't want to burden you. That's the truth. Some people don't share just because it's not a big deal. Like I just said about our foster daughter. Like, mommy, I beg, you have too many things worrying you. So this is what I'm going to be sharing. I beg, the guy is not important. It's not a big deal. So empathic children or those who sense that a parent is stressed may choose to protect their parent by staying silent. Right? So you just stay silent and then you just put it all together. So that mindset, but when you say, I have built enough trust so that my children can tell me anything, even if they don't always do it right away. That's where you should be. That's where you should be. And that mindset is what keeps you curious instead of complacent. That mindset is what keeps you open instead of shocked. That mindset is what keeps you approachable instead of reactive. So when you have that mindset, you're curious, you're not complacent. You want to know what's happening. If you have that mindset, you're open. You're not shocked. Your child says, I have a crush, you're shocked. Yeah, your mind cuts. Yeah, I don't understand. Or your son comes and says, I like one girl in school. Like, really? He's a boy. He's supposed to like girls. Why not? Or their child, comes to you and says, oh, this happened to me. You should be approachable, not reactive. So these are the conversations. Are you having a time of your life? If you are, share this link with someone in your community. Let them get in and let them come and listen, because we just got started in what your child is not telling you. And we're talking about unspoken thoughts. We're talking about feelings. We're talking about fears. We're talking about struggles. Your child experiences, but they don't express it. I'm going to be sharing with you why they don't express it. And if you're being sincere, you would also agree with me that there are many things that you had wanted to share with your parents that you couldn't have shared. The other day we were bouncing ideas in the team. And I said to the team that, someone tried to molest me, right? Physically, yes, sexually, when I was, I think, 14. And we were sharing why people didn't tell their parents. I didn't tell my parents, not because my parents were going to blame me. I didn't tell my father because my father was going to kill the person. And I knew, the person was going to be dead. So I just said, let me save this person's life and also save my father from going to jail. But these are all of it. Overreaction, underreaction is a thing. They are all of it. It's all a problem. All right. So that's a very important place. This is an important place for you to hit like and ensure that you are following. I see you, Adeleke, Ademola. I see you, Onome. I see you, Minister Tinu, Ade, Mercy, Oyem. I see you guys. The other shout out to you people. Alrighty, so that you can always make sure that you are always there with knowledge and strategy. Remember, don't forget strategy while you're waiting. I want you to take some time and just go and invite someone somewhere, right? So that we can get this moving. You can invite someone and make their life. Let me take some water while I return here.
Maryland, are you ready? On July 12th, for the first time ever in the US, Coach Wendy Ologe will be hosting the Intentional Parents Summit in Glen Burnie, Maryland. The theme of this groundbreaking summit? Time, the currency of a kingmaker.
So what can you expect? Parenting insights that will completely transform the way you raise your children, a mindset shift to help you maximize time, the greatest asset of a kingmaker, support and encouragement from a thriving community of like-minded parents who are on the same journey, exclusive access, and the unique opportunity to engage with a world-class parenting coach Africa's #1 and internationally recognized thought leader and the author of 20 books on parenting.
This is more than a conference. It's going to be amazing and insightful, a life-changing experience. You don't want to miss it. I will be there.
How to register? Click the link below or follow the instructions on the screen to pay your general admission investment of only $130, which includes delicious food, because why not? Great transformation is fueled by good food. If you want to receive VIP treatment for only $200, get all the general admission perks plus priority seating, access to an exclusive VIP mixer with Coach Wendy, and a gift bag that includes a bunch of goodies, including her latest book, The Kingmaker, exclusively autographed just for you.
Can't make it in person? No problem. Just grab the virtual pass for only $30 and join us from anywhere. Click the link below or follow the instructions on your screen to register now before tickets sell out. I will certainly be there. Will you?
I will definitely be there.
Alrighty, that was the team from the US. We're going to be in the US in July. Interestingly, we're also going to be in Canada on the 5th of July. Are you in Canada? Are you in US? And we're also going to be in the UK. So anywhere you are, we got you. We're also going to be in Zambia, Ilori, and we are also going to be in Warri. Am I correct, Tim? Yes. So Warri, Ilori, Zambia, US, UK, Canada, we go all out. We don't play. Alrighty. Have you invited somebody? Have you invited somebody here to join us in this conversation? We are talking about what your child is not telling you. And remember that the healing from childhood, trauma cause is starting tomorrow. Exactly tomorrow. We have 3 professionals who are going to be in that class. In fact, in the recent times, there's been a lot about healing, a lot about trauma, a lot about this conversation. I pray, I pray, I wish that everybody is actually there. You see the details on my screen. All right, for those who are asking me about the UK, US, details and registration, the link and details are in the description of this particular video. And you can also reach out to the team if you want to register. Scratch that for you to register. All righty. So yes, for the healing course, the details are here. Today is the last day. After today, if you're going to get any at 12 o'clock, you're going to get by this course tomorrow, you will pay $30,500. All right. Dr. Happiness, let me go and watch my shirt for Warri Summit. Yes, let's go there. Okay. Chika, we're excited to have you in Canada. Yes, I can't wait. Canada, yes. I can't wait. Okay. So the truth of the matter is that your child is not telling you enough, right? The child is not telling you enough just because there's a lot that happened. Do you know that sometimes traumatic experiences actually stops your children from telling you, what they're not telling you? And if you are knowledgeable enough and you are strategic, you will be able to say it. You'll be able to say it because that's one key aspect of your journey. Number one is the feeling of overwhelm. Now, children, especially, those in school, feel pressure. There's pressure from academics. There's pressure from friendship. There's pressure from performance. There's pressure from change. Do you know that moving schools can be a lot on your child? Do you know that puberty is a problem for your child? But they may not say it out loud. So your child is there going through something, but they are not saying it. So part of what your child is not telling you is that they feel overwhelmed. So most times, your child is not coming to tell you, I'm overwhelmed. Today, somebody asked me a question. My child is doing soccer, doing piano, he's doing extracurricular, he's doing this one. And I said, come on now, only one person. He said, but the child is not complaining. No. I smiled. The child is not going to complain, in quotes, but it is what it is. So do you know what happens to them? They feel I'm supposed to handle it. I don't want to disappoint my parents. If I tell them now that I cannot do soccer and do piano, they will be disappointed. So I'd rather just keep going. And then there's also I don't know what to say. What do you do? Number one, watch out for the signs. The signs of irritability, the sign of withdrawal, the sign. A child withdraws. It's not you find out what is wrong. You are there shouting. You're beating. You're everywhere. What is all this? You now beat the child. A child that you can clearly see that the child is struggling. You now hit them. I really have not been able to understand it. Today I shared something on my timeline on Facebook, and I think the team also shared on Instagram. And I said, I saw somebody's comment under my post. A child was reciting something in church. She missed her line. The teacher walked up to the church and slapped the child, a 3-year-old. It's how we say we are okay that baffles me. What is okay about this person now? Let me reduce my voice. Like, how is this person okay? I don't get it. How is this person okay? How do you hit a child, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old? How do you hit someone and believe that everything is okay? See, if you have to hit a person, as in you raise your hand and smack a person, there's something wrong somewhere. Honestly speaking. Not in self-defense. Somebody you are bigger than. It means that you can beat a wife, a husband. Forget it, you can. All these things is not true. It's not the same. It's the same. It is the same. Because, you just do it. You say, no, I cannot do that one. No, I can only beat a child that is older. It's the same. Whether you are beating an older person, or you're beating a younger person, or you're beating a toddler. I've seen people beat toddlers. I've seen it. I've seen all sorts. I remember in a session one of those days, a man had slapped the son on the back that they were marked. Guess how old this boy was? He was 4. Guess what he did? He didn't write his maths very well. And that was it. Like the child didn't have, how did we get to the point where we're so traumatized that we have to leave our trauma on our children? I've said it before. If you do not heal, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you. If you don't heal, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you. If you don't heal, you will bleed on people who didn't cut you. Your children are not your problem. Your children are not the reason why you're frustrated. Your children are not the reason why the country is hard. Your children are not the fact that you're going to work and providing for them. It's not their fault that you chose to give birth to them. And you know what? You are accountable. It doesn't matter what it is that you say. Oh no, you don't own them. You are accountable. You are a guide. And if you chose to be a guide to a child, it means that you have actually pledged to co-creation with God. So you find out that all those things that we call being disciplined, it's not. It's not. Somebody sent me a message today again and said, oh, my dad came to school, shaved off my hair, and paraded me in school many years ago. I have never recovered from it. Do you know that shaving off hair is a start of being able to build shame around you? Oh, yeah. And I'm sure you don't know it. That was one of the tools that the colonial masters used, because there's a disempowerment that happens in it. But meanwhile, we do these things without thinking of the effect. We do these things without, without actually thinking of how it will affect our children. So that's why I keep saying, share this with everybody around you. A lot of people do not know. And that's the truth. Thank you so much, Justice Ademi. A lot of people do not know. A lot of people do not know. Yeah, hair is synonymous to identity. So that's why when someone's hair is shaved off in that manner in shame, there's something that it does to your whole being. Especially when we shame. I usually say, I wrote in my book, Discipline is Not an Emergency. I shared that one of the things that you must recognize is that discipline is not shaming a child. The moment you have to shame a child, you have moved from what discipline should ever mean. So some people still tell me, I don't yell, I don't beat, but you call your mother and report your child who have come home and written a letter to a boy. Why? You're shaming the child. That's what you do. You go to school and report your son who had done something at home and say, I will tell your teacher. You are even disempowered. It means that you do not have the authority you claim to have. So that means it's the teacher. The child needs to actually go and be afraid. Come on. It's important that we understand that some of these things that we've been through are not normal. Let's not normalize nonsense. And we now make it look so good. Intelligent nonsense. No. It's not that's why we became the who we are. Every time I see the next person, translate or even say that's why we became this way. That's why we became, how do we even say it? Became useful. It breaks my heart. Because that's what you have internalized to believe. To believe. And it takes a lot for you to get out of your body and your mind. All right? So watch out for those signs. Watch out for when your child starts to procrastinate. Normalize talking about stress. Let your children be able to actually say, I'm really overwhelmed. I was sharing to inner circle parents. By the way, if you're not in the inner circle, like, you're doing yourself a whole world of disservice. Because I tell you of a truth, that's the strategy we're talking about. Inner circle is strategy to your knowledge. That's what it is. An accountability system is strategy to that knowledge that you are getting. So if you do not have a strategy, remember what I said earlier. If you do not have a strategy, there's no implementation. You can't be transformed. So you can have all the knowledge and there's no transformation. And let me bring it down. Let me break it down. Look around in our churches. Do you know why we have so many churches but few Christians? It's not good churchgoers. Very few Christians. It's because our strategy is wrong. And that's why there's no transformation. If you put in the right kind of strategy at all times, it's not because knowledge is lacking, because believe you me, the church is doing a lot in being able to disseminate knowledge. We have a lot of knowledge around, but there is no strategy. The right strategy is not there. The right strategy is not there. And so there's no transformation. So we're not transformed. So we're Christians. And that's why we can go to church, on a Monday, very conveniently, and say, remove Christianity out of it. I beg, remove God. Let's do it on a platter of no God. There's no understanding. There's no strategy for transformation. There's no strategy. So without strategy, you can't be transformed. So the fact that you're listening to Tuesday Live every Tuesday, truth of the matter, there's no transformation. Yeah, you will learn it. You will gain the knowledge. And that's why you implement 1, 2, 3. You get tired. You get weary. And then you say to yourself, are you sure that this thing they're saying is true? It's not true. Because there is no strategy. Can somebody who is married to join inner circle? Yes. Who is not married? Yes, you can. Somebody, Oluwa does say, even the way we bring people to Christ, bam! I wish I can break it down, but I will leave it since this is not a church podium. Even the way we bring people to Christ, there's something faulty in that line. And that's why there's a struggle. Anyways, let's leave it. Let's leave it there. Another reason, right? What your child is not telling you is, another thing that your child is not telling you is number 2. I am struggling with my identity. I am struggling with my identity. Older children, teenagers, they silently battle with questions with, am I good enough? Do I matter? Where do I belong? What's wrong with me? Why do you think that the LGBTQ was an easy sale to teenagers? Why do you think so? It's simple. Because of the struggle of identity. And you know what? These are the things that your children are not saying. Ask anything if you're close to them. The struggle of identity is real. It's real. Very real. And this is very, very important. All right? Very, very important. So it's in this place, again, we go back to strategy, that you begin to actually ask questions about the things that you would need to do, the right strategy to be able to help your child who is struggling with the identity, because your child is not going to come to you and say, I'm struggling with my identity. I don't know whether I'm a girl or a boy. You see that phase, it happens to every child. And you know what? Not every child in that way, right? But the phase of knowing who you are happens to everybody. And you know what? The people that, the people that curated the LGBTQ system understand the psychology behind identity at that age. So they used it. That's what strategy is about. Unfortunately, some of us know, but we don't have any strategy for implementation on how to help a child at that stage. That's the real problem. That's the real problem. So a child at that time is having a lot of struggle. Yeah, identity versus role confusion is a big deal. A very big deal. So children are struggling, but they're not saying it. Can you sit and be able to actually silently decipher? Children are asking, what's wrong with me? Where do I belong? I give you a very vivid example. Our daughter went into puberty late because we understand that that can happen, because there are a lot of factors that get the girl to actually get into puberty. And one of the factors is being close to a father. That there's a psychology behind it, and leave it for another conversation. Talking about fathers, CIP Fathers Conference is coming up. If you have a father, if you know a father, get that father to be in. Get that father to be in. And I think the flyers are already, out and flying, because, there are so many things that we don't know that is beginning to haunt us, honestly speaking. We don't know, and it's beginning to haunt us. It's beginning to become, something else for us. We need to know. You need to know. You need to know. So that's a very important part. Somebody said, if you have spanked in the past, how do you stop yourself from the guilt? It's by going through a healing journey. The more you heal, the more you actually are able to walk out of guilt. Very important. Very, very important. All right. So I was talking about struggling with identity. And our daughter, we anticipated that it's going to be a struggle. Because these days, children get into puberty early. It's not a good thing. It's not even something to brag about. I see a lot of parents brag about it. My child is 10. She's really developed. We say those things. I look at us and I'm like, wow. Ignorance is not bliss. It's death. And because that could happen to our daughter, who was already 12, she didn't see her period, she was 14, who was already 12, 13, all right? And it became a thing of conversation in class. So she felt like, it's only me, is there something wrong with me? We knew she could feel that way. So we created a strategy that will help her not to struggle with her identity. So she understood what was happening to her. So to the point that the teacher said, if you're in this class, you're 11, you've not seen your period, there's something wrong with you. My daughter said, there's nothing wrong with me, ma. I know where I'm coming from. So if you understand, that's what knowledge does for you. You are able to actually predispose your child to the kind of strategy that will help them not to now become that person who is struggling. Most times we actually want to pretend that our children are not struggling with things. Oh, they are. Some of your children are even struggling with digital molestation, maybe, getting molested, or maybe, masturbation and all of that. But you are not saying anything. They are not saying anything not because, it's something that maybe they want to say, but it becomes an identity thing. Oh, yes. It becomes an identity thing. So it is very important that you actually you are able to see, listen without judgment, create a safe, shame-free space where your children can talk and be themselves, even if it's not what you expect. So when your children are talking, you are picking clues. You're picking clues, and you're able to actually say, oh, maybe this is a pointer to struggle to identity. Like I said, no child is going to walk up to you and say, I'm struggling with my identity. I don't know who I am. I don't know whether I matter. I don't know what's wrong with me. Rarely. So you need to actually build a strategy that positions your child a lot more better. That's a very important aspect. The next one is I'm comparing myself to everyone. Social media, school pressure, sibling dynamics. Children often feel like that they are not measuring up. All right? Comparing yourself to everyone. Children feel like they're not measuring up. And then we also heap these things on them. So sometimes when I make a post on social media, like, say, oh, our daughter has been cooking this efori roast since she was 8. I put a caveat. Don't go home and go and drag your 16-year-old and say, look at you, your mate. Look at this girl. She has been doing this instead. You didn't give her the same platform. So you can't blame the child. You didn't have the same strategy that we had. So you cannot blame. Yes, you knew that teaching a child to cook was a good thing, but you don't have the strategy. I understood that it was beyond being a good thing. I understood that it was about being a skilled thing. It was about being a skilled thing. Somebody's asking what father's conference is virtual. All our conferences for online conferences are virtual, all right? And this is very important. So you must be able to actually help your child to be able to actually put. Somebody said the story of Michael Jackson is a tough lesson. It is. Oh, it is. That's why when I see people whose children are out there in the limelight, there's a strategy you must put together to help your child succeed in those situations. If not, you make a mess of that child. The problem is we don't have a strategy. We just, even for your child who is a star child, if you do not have a strategy for your star child, they will lose out. Oh, they will. Oh, they will. And that's why when I wrote the book, Raising the Trophy Child, that was part of what I was saying. If you're going to raise a child, raising the trophy child, it's a big deal. If you do not put the strategies in place, that child will come out believing what people say. Oh, ITK, oh, you are too much, you're everywhere. And then, of course, that can actually erode their sense of self. So you see all this, my child has all A's. Do you have a strategy to help your child be very integral about the systems that is in the world? Or you just think it's about your child just having academic performance and being, shoulder high up? That can be a thing. All right. And then another thing is I need you more than you think. These are some of the things that the child is not saying. I need you more than you think. Even independent, seemingly distant children actually crave for connection. I usually say that negative attention is more important to a child than no attention at all. So there is that thing about, that attention. And it is very, very, very important. So one thing that you would need to recognize is how this is absolutely key when it comes to the things that you are doing. Right? Number 7 is I'm exposed to more than you realized. These are some of the things that your children are not saying. I am exposed to more than you realize. Let me say it now. Sound it as a note of warning. Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro is coming. I started putting up sex conversations recently, and I realized that's 5.0. And I realized that Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was a joke to what we're dealing with. It was a joke. Believe you me, it was a joke. And I began to put a lot of things in perspective, and it's scary. It is scary, honestly speaking. So it's important that we begin to think it. So the child is saying, I'm exposed more than you are realizing. See, even with parental control, children are more exposed to sex, violence, drugs, bullying, peer pressure, online. They may hide it out of fear or guilt, but the truth is there. It's so scary that as I was going through and I was, I told you that I'm building 2 guides. The first one is digital molestation. 100 ways your child can get abused digitally. Nobody will touch your child. And your child will be a virgin. Nobody. You don't ask questions like, have you ever touched you before? Have you ever touched you? Say, no. But your child is getting abused daily. Daily. But you have no idea about it. Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro is coming. Every I'm going to give this book that I'm writing. I want to give it to the people who will join on the wait list flash sale date. I will give them free. Yes, you heard me. That book is 5,000 per copy, but I'm going to give it free to the people who join the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 5.0 wait list and meet up with the flash sale. The flash sale is on the 2nd of June, 12 noon. If you're a yada, you do not need to bother. The details will be in the yard, right? So it is. So one of the things you're getting is that you're getting over 75% discount at flash sale. You get access to those 2 free guides: digital molestation, 100 ways your child can be abused online and how to prevent it. That book is worth 5,000. You also get the other guide called Sexual Reputation Culture: 100 silent pressures children face about sex and how you can help them navigate it. Worth 5,000 naira. Again, you also have free access to Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro 3.0 if you were, not there. 3.0 is, 2023. And all of this, the good thing is the registration fee is 15,999. But on the flash sale day, only on the flash sale day, you are going to be paying 3,999. Only on the flash. And that's only on June 2nd. If you missed it, the flash sale goes off, and then and in that flash sale, you get all of this. So you are really literally paying nothing. Trust me. Sex Educate is not, where you really pay. You're literally, literally paying nothing. And, thank you, Tosin. Say even adults are being molested online. Oh, yes. Adults are being molested. It is crazy. The conversation has gone haywire. While I was, trying to put the curriculum together for this year, because that's what we do. We start quite early. I was talking about, have you seen the egg donation system? Nobody's talking about birth orders. Nobody's talking about fertility awareness and preservation. See, the kind of fertility issues we have in the next 10 years, you haven't even thought of it. The way that girls are selling their eggs. And eggs they're not unlimited though. Your eggs can finish really. That's the interesting part. There are a lot of things medically that people do not know about. And before you say, God forbid, it's not my child, your children in university, 18-year-olds. I have someone who owns a full-fledged, one of the biggest maternity systems in Nigeria. And trust me, you do not want to know the number of young girls selling their eggs on a daily basis. On a daily basis. It's scary. And it's not children of poor people. Children of the exposed, the rich. Yeah. Because it just feel like. It just feel like. So egg donation has swept us off our feet. And you know the truth, many of us don't even know anything about it. Now we're now talking about, gender identity is no longer, for me, that's old news. We're now talking about emergency contraceptives. We're talking about egg harvesting. We're not talking about transactional sex. We're not talking about technology facilitated abuse. We're not talking about cyber abuse. We're not talking about the sex culture. Sex culture. Sex reputation culture. That's why, do you know that counting, body count is now a thing? You now come and say, I have 5 body counts, I have 10 body counts. People are now using it to actually intimidate, pressure, and molest people online. It is crazy. You see this egg donation thing? If we don't start having the conversations early enough, we are going to be in super soup in the next 10 years. So this is your cue. Get into wait list of Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro is literally it's one of our give backs. As far as I'm concerned, that you're paying 399 on that wait list day is for you to get accountable. It's one of our give backs. And we've opened the wait list, group, and the details is on the description of this video. We'll also share, everywhere. But one thing that I want you to know, because the truth of the matter is that book, you're going to see it on Stella. It's going to be 5,000 naira for you to actually be able to buy it. It's going to be everywhere for you to be able to buy it. So if you're getting 2 books, 10,000 naira, you're paying 3,999. That means you're owing us money, Abi. You're owing us money. So we need money back. All right. But that's on a lighter note. But what I'm saying is that we're passionate about you having sex conversation the right way. So all these, don't allow anybody to touch your breast. Don't allow anybody to touch your... Nobody's touching these children's breast and private part anymore. Nobody's touching penis, vagina. Nobody's touching anymore. But there's still molestation. There's even heavier molestation There's even heavier molestation. That's where it's scary. Yes, we're no longer having people now because children are now being a lot of parents are now protecting their children. They don't want to uncle, all these uncle touching people are it's still happening, but it's now worse with the digital system. The molestation today is crazy. I say this egg harvesting thing is a sex conversation. Egg harvesting is a sex conversation. Oh, yes, it is. It is. It is. Our boy is being cultured to think that sex is, male prowess. It's a sex conversation. And we need to begin to have it. So all these, don't allow anybody to touch you. Don't touch a girl. Don't kiss. That's we are still living in the ancient days. And we're going to be able to put all of that in perspective for you. It's a 5-day whole life masterclass that's going to happen in June. You don't want to miss it. Trust me when I say so. All right. And if you have been in any of the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, this is 5.0, right? And we even have books converted on it. So we have Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. Nothing we've done in the past 5 years is like what we're about to do. I can assure you, because the tides are changing every day. And the molestation of the mind is worse than physical molestation. And that's what we're having today. The minds of our children are immersed. They're immersed. And if we're going to win this war, then we must fight with knowledge. We can't fight. You can't win a war you know nothing about. That's the problem. So how do you win that war? Except you know about the war, that's the only way you can win it. That's the only way you can win it. All right? And that is very key in the things that you must realize. So I'm exposed to more than you realize. One of the things that you want to do is to learn. Create a no-shame zone and learn. And learn what it is that you need to do. So, cut on our ways. The other day I was talking about, you were talking about lavender marriages. And then I'm sure you know what lavender marriages are. If you don't know, you're on your own. That's an LGBTQ conversation. We've left you, we've moved. And if you don't know what it is, come to Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. I was talking about it and my children were like, you know what it is? I was like, yeah. You raise a child in the digital age, you don't understand what's happening in the digital world. Here is your case. For your is your case. So please, we need knowledge to fight. And if you've gone through life molested, most of us had attempt molestation, kind of. And that's why even to teach sex education, you are shaking as I'm saying it. Hey, how can I teach it? No, my children cannot be exposed to it and all of that. Better get into healing from childhood trauma course. You are traumatized. I had 2 sexual attempts, rape attempts in my life. One was a priest. One was a colleague of my dad. Failed attempts. But you know what? He left something in my head that I needed to deal with eventually. My father didn't hear it until I was old. Most of us are in that place, molested by cousins, got touched by different kind of people, neighbors, men. Most of them, their first sexual experiences were all, in their neighbor, their auntie, older women, and all of the mess that happened to you. If you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. If you don't deal with it, it will deal with you. That's one thing I know. So you need to actually begin to deal with a lot. I am particularly excited. The healing from childhood trauma course takes off immediately tomorrow at 10. Even if you don't, get the beautiful thing about our course is that you have access between now until the end of the year. So you can access it anytime, right? That course goes live tomorrow. I can't wait to actually be in that course. And it's a different module, all together. This year, we're doing excavating the wound, uncovering the naming the childhood trauma. Inside that, I'm going to be taking tomorrow the neurobiology of trauma, the attachment theory, the family systems, and generational traumas. You see that thing you said you call generational causes? I will break it down for you tomorrow. That thing you say, generational causes, I don't know what it is that had happened to me, in my family, in my generation. I'm going to break it down for you tomorrow, and I will teach you how to do family mapping exercise, how you can create a genogram to uncover trauma patterns that have been passed down through generations. Yeah, that's part of what I'm going to be teaching you. And you're also going to be, looking at somatic awareness practice, right? Learn to track sensations in the body, tight chest, and all of that. You're going to be looking at all of these things and be able to map. You map out key childhood events and emotional impact. You will learn how to actually map it, and do all of this. That's part of what it is that we're going to be doing, tomorrow. And I can't wait. You'll be able to differentiate acute, chronic, and complex trauma. So all the traumas, right? All the traumas are not the same. All the traumas are not the same. You have acute trauma, you have chronic trauma, you have complex trauma, and we'll be able to break it down. When we say acute trauma, what does it mean? When we say chronic trauma, what does it mean? When we say complex trauma, what does it mean? And I'm also going to be showing you how trauma can be in your body. You see some people, they are like this. You think that it's just normal. No, it's not. It's part of it. Tight jaw, slouching, and all of that, and what it is that you can do. And then we're also going to be talking about survival adaptations when trauma becomes a personality. Is it you, or is it just your trauma, and all of that? And then we'll also be learning the neurobiology of trauma. What happens to the brain that is under trauma? What happens? Then the attachment theory, and then the family systems and generational trauma. That's my best part. All right. You will learn about enmeshment, learn about parentification, learn about emotional neglect, and what it truly means, and learn about transgenerational trauma. You're going to there's so much to learn, from that hidden course tomorrow, and I hope to see you there tomorrow. Also, do not forget that the summit for this year is going to happen in Canada. I think Canada first on the 5th, US on the 12th, UK October 24th, Ilorin October 11th, Warri, I hear September, all right, and all of this. And then I think Zambia, all right, so Zambia, I don't have the date for Zambia. I would actually, I will actually give you all of the details as we come. So just look out for it, look out for all of the details, and we will be there live. It's not that the summits are not virtual events, it's a live event, okay? But the TIP Summit, the Intentional Parents Academy Conference, TIP Fathers Conference, is online, it's virtual. Please, if you're a father, you are listening to me, please ensure that you get into this conference. This conference is free, but you need to register. We already have Pastor Kumaya on, we have Pastor Tawa Kinlami, the Gov. It's all men. I'm not teaching at the TIP conference. So that's the flyer. I have nothing to deliver at the TIP conference. I'm just, a convener. It is men talking to men. And the theme of this TIP conference is the making of a father. Becoming, belonging, and building legacies. Becoming, belonging, and building the legacies. We cannot wait to actually share all of the things that we have and pour into families, for TIP Fathers Conference this year. I am particularly excited about this conference and, being able to actually give to people. Remember that our TIP annual conference is also in July. That's also online. That's our biggest parenting conference ever. We have 30 speakers, 34, 36, and it goes on and on and on. And of course, like I said, the trauma class starts tomorrow. See you there tomorrow. You do not want to miss being there, because believe you me, it is going to be an amazing time. Alrighty, so see you guys in class tomorrow. Don't miss. Come on.
The UK TIP 2.0 Summit is here. Are you even ready? Whether you're a parent, a guardian, or anyone that is passionate about raising strong, emotionally healthy children, this is for you. When is this happening?
It's happening on Saturday, the 25th of October 2025, here in Birmingham, the United Kingdom, at RCCG Covenant Restoration Assembly, located at Matalan Building, 123 to 125 New John Street, Aston, B6 4LD. So, who are the speakers?
The VC herself, Coach Wendy, Coach Kunle, Coach Ebuka, and Coach Etsima will all be there to equip you with the tools and mindset to parent on purpose. Let me tell you why you should attend.
You will learn how to build strong emotional connections with your children, set healthy boundaries without yelling or guilt, navigate the digital age confidently as a parent, handle behavioral changes with grace and wisdom, raise children who are resilient, respectful, and rooted in value. You'll be surrounded by a powerful community of parents just like you, ready to grow and support one another. How should people register?
Scan the QR code or use the link in the description of this video to register for only £53.50 per adult. And yes, professional childcare is available on site for only £43.50 per child. So you do not need to worry. Bring your little ones and enjoy the summit stress-free. You don't want to miss this life-transforming opportunity. I will be there, would you?
Your voice and shout, come on.
Mom, what does virgin means? She's only 8. She heard it on a cartoon. She asked you, but you froze. Too many of us were not taught. So now we don't know how to teach. We'll panic, we'll postpone, we'll fumble. And while we are delaying, the world is already teaching them through YouTube, through TikTok, even in school, even through their friends. And this is why the Intentional Parents Academy had introduced, and we are excited to bring to you the Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, the 5.0 edition, which is even more better. Your child deserves to learn sex education in an age-appropriate manner, in love, in wisdom, to guide them, to support them, to lead them through. And you know what? This edition is bringing to you what 100,000 bonuses that you will get to walk this journey, because you're not going to walk this journey alone. And we are going to give you 2 strong guides that you need for this Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro. Join the wait list now while you can and get your resources for just first 100 people who joins in now.